Hi, my lovely people. Good to talk to you again. This is Kuku, your peer educator. Now, there's going to be a bit of change in how I present or share today's message. And let me first invite all the young people in class. Please come. Come. Okay, it's not going to be a class. It's sort of, we're going to have a small webinar and we're going to talk about ourselves. Yeah, I mean, very many times adults, they be talking about us, I don't know how, and sometimes it's not even so cool. But so this conversation we're really going to be having, it's going to be about us, because why not? Huh? Like, why not? Yeah, so get your seat, get your pen, get your paper, and we're going to learn about a few things about us. Now, the things that we're going to talk about, they're really going to help to shape the future, because the first journey that we have to take as young people is to live long, to live healthy and meaningful lives. But how do we do that when there are all sorts of distractions around us? So come and let's have this talk conference. Now, my full names are Mercy Kukundakwe Namanya, and I am a community psychologist by training, and professionally I am a lover of community and educator and advocate, primarily in the space of health, and very fascinated to talk about a lot about HIV, because this is where HIV, TB, among other infectious diseases, because those are the major infections where stigma, misinformation, knowledge gaps have really been evident. Yeah, we can clearly tell how lacking our communities sometimes when we hear things coming from them, coming from where we're coming from, the families where we're coming from, the friends we're interacting with. Everybody has an opinion, but sometimes that opinion may not be factual, that opinion may not be evidence-based, that opinion may not be even true. So my life has passionately been pulled to such audience to try and bridge that gap by sharing information. And now, initially I was generally in the clinical settings, interacting with persons living with HIV, supporting their journey, walking with them throughout that journey. And that has not changed, but the spaces have actually just been transitioned to the digital spaces, because also we understand that the same audience online are the same audience that are supported in these clinics where we interact and take care of these people. But sometimes the same digital spaces is an easier platform to share information that can reach even much more people, but also it can be received by everyone without any limitation to accessibility or visit to these hospitals where some of this important and valuable information is. So my journey and career journey has passionately been around shaping communities, creating information, disseminating information, but also empowering other people, the young, the old, and most importantly, the younger generation. My journey started as early as 2005, interacting with young people. These were young people living with HIV. These are young people who had no hope. These are young people who were living in times where treatment was it was not even a dream, because nobody had ever thought about the disease in that manner, because there was no research, there was no information, nothing. Everybody was believing what they wanted. And so there are those young faces who lost their parents along the way. There are those faces who were born with the disease, unfortunately, and they had to beat it. And I'm glad to have been that young person who walked that journey. Even I, as a young person, in my youthful years, I'm still a youth though, in my youthful years, I did walk that path of journey with them, which really, really makes me so proud that at the end of the day, there is that young person that was given hope. There was that young person that was given a platform to express themselves. There was that young person who was given an opportunity to become everything that they desired or even to dream more. Now, speaking about this conversation of dreaming more, of becoming better as young people, ladies and gentlemen, as a young person, you don't have to be, when I grow up, that's when I'm going to become those things. No. Your growing up is you beginning to become those things right now. When I was young, I wanted to become a teacher. But it's so interesting how I am now teaching. I always wanted to become a teacher from a very young age. In fact, my very first day of school, I went straight. After coming back from school, I did have gather all the young children in that environment, and I taught them the things that I had learned to school. Now, for me, learning it's a tool as young people that we thank God that in this generation we already have. We have opportunities of learning, and as young people we should be learning. Yes, by every means, please go and learn. You can learn from school, you can learn at home, the chores from your parents, your siblings, you can learn from your friends, you can learn from everyone, the environment you're in, but make sure that whatever you're learning, it's adding value, it's building you, all right? And then there is that aspect of also dreaming. Dreaming is not just about dreaming about your crushes, adolescents, Gen Z, clock it. Before we clock it, we are not going to be dreaming about crushes. We're going to be dreaming about what is the kind of woman that I want to become in the next 10 years, 30 years, 40 years, or 50 years, or even a man. What kind of a person am I envisioning myself to become? Now, that journey is guided by whatever you are learning right now, or whatever you're relearning right now, or whatever you are unlearning right now. Very, very important in the space of learning. So as you dream, you're not just dreaming to be that girl who is going to date this handsome crush of yours, or not a young boy who's going to have, settle down with that girl as boyfriend and girlfriend. You're thinking bigger. You're dreaming business-wise, you're dreaming career-wise, you're dreaming what you're going to be influencing-wise. As young people, we all know that, first of all, we are the biggest percentage. If we are to look at the national data in terms of population, we are the majority. What that means is that that's a good thing. That's an added benefit. That's an added value, an added advantage. So we have to take advantage of it, yes? That the majority of us who are young people, full of life, full of brave, vibrant ideas, full of great, mighty, creative, everything is just all about creativity, and we are there. However, in our still youngness, there is still that aspect of growing. We still need to grow. We still need to learn from our parents. We still need to embrace what our teachers tell us in our schools. We still need to complete all the cycles of growth, being in school, being a child. Please allow to be a child. If you're playing, please continue playing. It's a beautiful thing. So, but as you do all these things, these things are transforming you into a young lady, into a young gentleman who tomorrow the world is going to be looking up to. Yes, in that big political office, in that big space of influence in the commerce, in the commerce world, in the spiritual world, in so many ways that you're going to be influencing. So, but however, as young people, there are some challenges that we encounter along that journey. It's never that smooth. It's never that, a straight path. There are challenges that we shall encounter, for example, health related risks, which sometimes cut that life short for some of the young people. We know that as young people, our bodies physiologically are also prone to diseases, to infections, but also because of the other exposures, health exposures out there, we are going to be in a position where we are fragile and our lives are compromised. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to take a deep reflection as I take you through this conversation about some of the numbers that I'm going to be sharing. As I'm sharing these numbers, please take a deep reflection about these numbers. I know there are so many health risks, but I picked just a few to act as an example, to guide our reflections, but most importantly, to help us be able to figure in our creative faculty of thinking and innovation as young people, to be able to create solutions that can truly impact and change our society. Because at the end of the day, living long is something that has been freely been given to us, and sometimes how we live or our lifestyles sometimes may also contribute to our lifespans being shortened. Now, I want us to go through these numbers. And like I said, as we go through these numbers, think deeply. What can I do as a young person? What role do I need to play as a person, as an individual? But also, how can I influence other young people out there, to either change that behavior or adapt to something more, meaningful, more great, more impactful, more life transforming. So some of these numbers we are also familiar. Now, these are based on old reports, but I know also the current reality can give us a clear clue of what exactly is happening. For example, in 2021, there was a report which noted about 100,000 adolescents or young people between the age of 10 to 19 dying due to road crashes. Now, this is not even a conversation to talk about, especially in Uganda, because recently we had that experience. In the last couple of months, we have seen the rate at which young people are dying because of road accidents. Alarming and scary at the same time. But road accidents are not the only health risks. We also learn about the 40,000 young people who have drowned, and a quarter of those, or 3/4, of those are young boys. Now, we know how as young boys we love to swim, even when sometimes you're not confident at swimming or you haven't learned enough. You just want to go into that water anyway. But sometimes that will lead your life to a short, or sometimes children will fall in pools because probably they are not well guarded, or there are no safeguard measures put in place to prevent such accidents. And then we are also looking at the biggest elephant in the room, which is mental health. I know young people, there's a lot that we are dealing with physiologically. We are having to deal with, why is my body like this? Why is my skin, why am I having, all these changes on my body? And that can be emotionally draining. But also the environments where we are in, sometimes they draw us into such spaces of depression, anxiety, because sometimes we may be surrounded by bullies, especially in your workspaces. You may be surrounded by, you know, by abusers, perverts, who want to sexually abuse you at a very young age or take advantage of you at a very young age. And sometimes because you're young, you are usually threatened, and they tell you, if you dare speak, you will see. But sometimes, and that sometimes can be emotionally draining, it can be physically draining, it can be such a very tough time mentally for you as a young person. And we are seeing that the depression rates are really, really increasing among young people. Anxiety rates are going up among young people, especially between the ages of 12. And we are also learning that, especially as they also transition into adults, that's where the real depression sets in at around the age of 18. So we are seeing that these are major health risks, but also not forgetting that also in terms of positive lifestyles, like doing physical education, we are only seeing only 1 out of 5 young people participating. Like, you people, why are you not working out? Why? As I am asking you that question, I'm also asking myself, because I don't know when I last worked out. Maybe last night. But working out is still another challenge. Working out means doing physical activities. You can go to the gym, you can do some running, you can do some walking. None of that is happening among the young people. And then, last but not least, the bigger elephant: substance abuse, alcohol abuse, tobacco use. Globally, we're looking at one out of every 10 people, young adults between the ages of 13 to 15. One of those young people is going to be using either tobacco or vaping, or they are on alcohol, or they are injecting these things inside their bodies. Now, every time you indulge in such lifestyles, you're at risk of not living to the expectation of what you're learning, what you're dreaming, or what you want to become, okay? As you have always dreamt to become. Many of you, career-wise, you want to become doctors, you want to become lawyers, you want to become pilots, and so many beautiful professions that you want to undertake. But how are you living your life? I know I talk about taking good care of yourself, checking in with a doctor, and doing all these things. The beauty is that all these health risks, they can actually be reduced. You see the numbers that I've just read us, those numbers can be reduced down or completely, erased. We need to be that generation where when they mention about certain issues, we are like, we don't know what you're talking about, because we are that generation who we redefined, we changed, we changed cycles, we changed patterns. The things that our parents would be telling us, back in the day, we used to hear young people taking alcohol, and we're like, what is that? What are they talking about? So it's very possible, but some of how these things are going to be possible is, first of all, I need our full attention, and also full engagement. Now, the first things, based on some of the health risks that I have discussed, some of the things that you can do to help this situation is, number one, if you are on the road. I know the roads, there are so many causes of road accidents, but there are some measures that if we took personally, as personal responsibilities, they could really help on the end of us, on our end. For example, if you are in a car, why are you not wearing your helmet, for example? Why didn't you check or ask, is this car in the better mechanical condition? Why, if you are riding a bike, or a motorbike, why are you not wearing a helmet? Why? So, in as much as that wearing those could not be enough, but sometimes it could be enough. It could just be enough to save you. So, wear your helmet and wear your seatbelt. Now, when it comes to drowning, please make sure that you know how to swim. Some of us, I think our phobia for water has saved us from drowning, because man, curiosity can just want to push you to your early grave. So make sure that before you get into that water, you are very, very, very expert in that space. And if you're not that there in terms of sure or good at swimming, make sure there is an adult who can quickly supervise this process, and in case of any danger, you can be quickly rescued. Okay? Now, when it comes to mental health, ladies and gentlemen, you are surrounded by the most support system in the entire world, your parents. Okay, let's say if they're the ones who are abusing you, you have your siblings. Okay, let's say they're also abusing you. You have your friends, at least at school. You have your teachers. Of all the people that are around you, you mean you can't get one person and you talk to them? You tell them how you feel. You tell them how somebody made you feel the other way, and you brainstorm together and come up with solutions. I know you can. So talk to somebody, reach out to somebody, and if you are able to afford, it would be nice you talk to even a much professional person, like a psychologist or a counselor or somebody that is specialized in supporting you throughout that journey. Don't be stuck alone. Talk to somebody, and please be as active as possible as young people. Even the Bible tells us to enjoy our youthfulness, and by that you need to be very more active. Participate in activities that are going to give you that are going to keep you healthy. Hydrate, drink, don't drink alcohol, please. Tobacco, alcohol, vaping, whichever things that you inject yourself in, shisha, those things, please. I want you to know that every time you're taking those things, you're reducing your life by a certain point. So let's create better and healthier living lifestyles so that we can be more impactful, more resourceful, so that we can be able to live to that dream. Do you know how much the world is rooting for us? Today is our day, the International Youth Day, and that day was chosen specifically to celebrate us, to cheer us, to support us, to recognize the incredible young women and young men that we are becoming. Now, we cannot afford to be letting the rest of the world down, including your own parents, including your own siblings, including your own friends, down by doing otherwise. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a very wonderful talk. But before I go, I want to leave every young person these very important words. You have your life. Please live your life like you desire it. The world will tell you, don't do this, do this because it's the right thing. But at the end of the day, you always need to know, who am I? Very first lesson. If you know who you are, it's very going to be easy for you not to just fall for every trap. Yes, we're not saying that don't listen to or take advice. Please do, but you should be able to know the right advice or the wrong advice. So that starts with self-awareness. And in that self-awareness, you're going to be pushed to start to learn and become a better person, but also it's going to push you to everything that you have always deserved to become. So to the rest of the world out there, I want you to know that every young person, whether under your custody as a parent, as a teacher, or as a guardian, as a friend, as a sibling, these person deserves a chance to grow up healthy, safer, and more supported. What more can we add? Let's go and enjoy our youthfulness, but more wisely, more creatively, more impactfully. May the generations that come after us be able to say that our parents, they did ABCD when they were young, and whatever they did, it has shaped this nation that we are in. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been Kuku, your peer educator, with this small talk conference series about young people. I want you to know that you are loved so much, that your body is so beautiful, your skin is perfect, you do not need to change nothing about it. Your hair is looking muzuri sana. You do not have to worry about it. Go wear that lipstick as a young lady. Go put on that heel as a young lady. As a gentleman, don't worry. That deep voice, that's where masculine thrives. Go do the great things that you are. Don't sit down and feel like, oh, I'm not being heard. You have to first give that hearing ear to yourself. I am wishing you all the best as you grow, as you thrive. Continue to thrive, continue to grow, continue to impact positively. Look around in your communities, look around in your circles, your networks. Who is that one person or two people you can touch and transform their lives? And if you're in the market space out there, the market space, I mean your places of work, please work diligently. Please give it your best. Excel at what you do. Do it with so much love. You don't know who is watching. Some of us, who we are is entirely, it's entirely 100% because there was somebody who watched, there was somebody who was impacted, there was somebody whose life was touched. So you have to be every reason somebody wakes up every morning to come and root for you and support you. Thank you very much and have a lovely day. Bye.